Hopefully Audacity won't be rusty and won't decide to freeze, but I haven't had any problems with this version, so fingers crossed.
That's good. GarageBand probably won't crash.
Yeah, GarageBand probably won't crash. Because it's an Apple
It just works. It just works. No effort. No one even programmed it. It just came into the world. It's irreducible.
And I believe it, too. I believe that.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things. Watched it once, but I think it's my favorite Christmas special ever.
I think it's almost certainly mine as well.
Like, I was just blown away. You know, I was expecting something kind of interesting from the trailer, but I don't know why. I didn't think it was gonna do what it did, but it did it. It went there, and in a way, it was very similar to the finale, in that there was a lot of time travel involved.
That's kind of Stephen Moffat's thing.
Yeah, it seems to be. And I mean, I like that. I feel like it's going to get old if he keeps doing it, but here it seemed to work.
That's sort of how I feel. I don't feel like it's getting old, but I can foresee a time in which it will have gotten old.
Yeah.
And, that time is probably about 2 years from now. I'm going to estimate that. Like, if he's still really going back to the same well, is that an expression? Go back to a well?
I think so.
Okay, well, if he keeps going back to that well. I mean, I could see myself getting tired of it, but it worked really well. Well, yeah. I'm going to stop.
No, I agree with you on that. I think that, well, it depends on how much he uses it, but I could see 2 years being kind of a... It would get old after that. I hope he stops. I hope he has other ideas.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing. I mean, I get the feeling that from what I've heard from him in like interviews and stuff, he's had these ideas that he's always wanted to do in Doctor Who, and I imagine that in his first year he did quite a few of them. It's sort of like when a lot of bands finally get signed, they put out one album, and that album is every song they've ever written in years of being a band. So for their second album, they're under a lot of pressure to come up with a whole lot of new material very quickly, and it might not be as good. But I don't think Stephen Moffat's in that state yet.
Yeah, I imagine that's true. And I certainly get the feeling that from, and I guess this is something else we could talk about, is just the preview for the upcoming season. That seemed... Now did they air that on BBC America? Was that part of
Yes.
Okay.
No, well, during the episode, they actually had a couple of advertisements featuring Matt Smith and Karen Gillan, like in character, talking up the Utah episode.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. And clearly these advertisements were geared toward the BBC America audience. Because, I mean, you know, there were episodes filmed in Utah, and that's the big thing about it.
I wonder if we can find those on YouTube, because I'd like to see those.
Oh yeah, there's not much to it. I mean, it's like a 10-second long thing.
Still,
but I mean, I'm sure they're there.
I want to know.
Yeah, I'm sure if you search the YouTubes, you could find them.
I'm disappointed I missed that. You know, it would have been worth it putting up with commercials. Although about the commercials, like, I want to know the points at which they inserted them, because I feel, I mean, like with a Doctor Who episode, there never really seems to be a slow point, or, you know, in most episodes, and so I'm just wondering where they chose to insert those.
Well, it's interesting because in America, television exists to sell advertising space.
Right.
I mean, that's the reason television shows exist. So every television show is written specifically around a certain predefined structure,
right,
regarding a number of commercial breaks.
Right. And they don't do that in the UK.
Right, so they don't really write it to that structure so much. Which is why when you watch Doctor Who on BBC America, if you ever have, you'd notice the commercial breaks happen at just the strangest times. Because, I mean, they have to just shoehorn the ads where they don't belong. But, you know, while I was watching this, I always felt like the ads sort of went in at a natural place. Like, one I can remember in particular.
Okay.
You know, the scene where they're in the shark is about to burst through the door. And then, well, it does burst through the door. And the doctor, he's got his sleeves rolled up, and he's like, I've got 2 goes because I've got 2 arms. And then you don't see what happens. The next thing you see is the shark has been knocked out.
Yes.
That's where they insert the commercial break.
They insert it between the arms comment and the shark being knocked out?
Well, there's a scene transition.
Yeah.
And that scene transition is one of the places where they insert an ad.
Okay.
An ad break. I mean, there are a whole bunch of other ad breaks, but I don't really remember them all.
Okay. That actually does make sense.
You know, you try to go at a moment where tension is really high or something amazing has just happened.
Right.
I mean, and that's the way TV has to be written in America. And I guess when you bring something like Doctor Who over, you kind of have to find those spots. And maybe this episode, maybe they knew they were going to try to get it day and date with the United States. And so maybe Stephen Moffat was sort of intentionally putting natural ad breaks in there. I don't know. As for the next time trailer, we can talk about that after.
Yeah.
After we talk about the episode. But yeah, I agree with what you said earlier about it being the best Christmas special. I think previous to this one, I think my favorite had been the Christmas Invasion.
Yeah.
I know some people also like Voyage of the Damned.
Yeah.
But the Christmas specials sort of have a reputation for being not very good at all.
Yeah, that's true.
They sort of exist off in their own little world without any of the current companions in general. I mean, the Christmas Invasion did have Rose and Mickey and Jackie.
Right.
But, like, all the others have sort of been between seasons and have not felt very well integrated.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, yeah. Because The Runaway Bride featured Donna, but Donna wasn't a companion yet. So that was kind of a...
I mean, not that Amy and Rory did much in A Christmas Carol.
Right. But yeah, no, it's funny because that was one of the things that I noticed in the preview for the Christmas special was Amy was in her police outfit and Rory was in the Roman costume. And it was like, what is going on here? And then it was really funny how they just sort of like, yeah, that was funny.
It was, but I mean, there wasn't really much to it either.
Right.
I mean, I feel like the episode as a whole wouldn't have suffered if they had both been completely removed.
The thing was, from the cold opening, it looked like Amy and Rory were going to be very involved in the episode. And then they just sort of weren't at all.
That's all right with me. I mean, it didn't really bother me. It's just, I feel like that's an opportunity that they could have taken to put an entirely different spin on the way Christmas specials are done. Like, the Christmas specials and the specials in general, including the David Tennant specials, have mostly just been about the Doctor and a couple of prominent guest stars.
Yeah.
Who he meets and then he has one adventure with and then leaves. And that's sort of a formula. And this sticks to that formula. It does other interesting things, but, I mean, as far as that's concerned, it doesn't deviate very much from the formula at all.
That's true. And I mean, I don't know. This episode really surprised me, just because of how much better it was from the other Christmas specials we've seen recently.
Oh, I agree, yeah.
I was expecting a Doctor Who episode, but I wasn't expecting it to be this good.
Yeah, it sort of works as an episode. Like, it's just a good episode. Yeah. It also, I mean, I really liked the guest cast.
Yeah.
I think Michael Gambon did a very good job convincing me that he wasn't Dumbledore.
Yeah. Especially with the opening, when we first hear him, he's just, we just hear his voice. And I'm like, oh, hey, it's Dumbledore.
Yeah, it sounds very much like Dumbledore in that case. But he plays 2 entirely different characters as well.
Yeah.
He plays the father and he plays him, so... 2 different versions of him as well.
It's not easy to pull off.
And I think Katherine Jenkins, she's had no prior acting experience, so she did fairly well. I mean, she wasn't like, oh my god, amazing.
Now, she was the...
Abigail?
Yeah, right. I'm terrible, but yes, okay, yeah, her.
It's not as memorable as Kazran.
Though I didn't remember that one either.
Oh, okay. Well.
It's a good refresher there.
And I liked the way that the whole Christmas Carol thing was integrated into the story.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, obviously with the title like that, and, you know, even in the trailer, the Doctor saying, I'm the ghost of Christmas past. And, you know, I figured it was going to be sort of like, you know, A Christmas Carol, where I figured the Doctor was going to take Kazran in the TARDIS and, like, show him previous Christmases or whatever, like, in the actual Christmas Carol. And then this sort of surprised me with how that it didn't really follow that kind of thing, and he took it in a slightly different direction, and I liked that a lot. Mm-hmm. And it actually makes sense because, now that I think about it, because they inserted that bit about time can be rewritten, people can't, and that was something that I couldn't really make sense of in the trailer, and in retrospect, I guess I should have seen it.
Well, you keep mentioning the trailer, and I think I only saw the trailer once.
Oh, really? I watched it like a dozen times.
I only watched the trailer once, and I was not at all paying attention to the news or anything about the Christmas special in the time leading up to it, because just the way the rest of my life was going, like, I was so busy, and I was, dare I say it, too busy to think that much about Doctor Who.
Gasp.
I know it sounds crazy, but it was about a week before that I realized I hadn't been paying attention. I was like, well, you know what? If I haven't been paying attention, I might as well keep not paying attention. So I can just go into it and be completely surprised. And I was. And, it was fun.
Yeah, like, I guess that's a pretty good way to go about it. And I imagine this is the perspective of, at least my parents who watched it with me. And, because I don't like contact them ever. So,
of course.
Why
would you?
So, I'm pretty sure they didn't see the trailer ahead of time, so, they went in blind as well. So I imagine that was their perspective. And, it works that way, and I do like not knowing anything about what I'm about to see.
Yeah, it can be fun.
That's actually the way I experience a lot of media. Like, I knew nothing about Inception going in to see that. Actually, no, I didn't know nothing. It was described to me in a single sentence, and it was described as like The Matrix, but with dreams.
That's about what I had, too.
Yeah, so, and based upon that, I was like, okay, I can, I'm willing to see where this is gonna go. And so that's really what I went in with, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I feel knowing too much about an episode ahead of time might not be the best thing, because you have expectations, and if it doesn't meet those expectations, you're disappointed. There's something to be said for going in completely blind.
Yeah. I know there's also something to be said for going in and psyching yourself up and getting all excited about everything. Well, both sides have their benefits.
True. I have to say, all the psyching up I did was certainly rewarded because I enjoyed it thoroughly. I was not at all disappointed.
That's good. Yeah, I seem to be getting the impression that a lot of people really liked it, and the Doctor Who Christmas specials sort of have a reputation among fans of being kind of, I don't know, nonsense fluff, I guess. Mm-hmm. And this felt like it was considerably more than fluff.
Yeah, I agree.
There was more substance to it, and I think it was something that people were just glad to see.
Yeah. It even had some really good emotional moments, it's just so different for a Christmas special to do that. It was something I totally wasn't expecting.
Well, I don't think it's that different. I think that, if you look at The Runaway Bride, there's Donna finding out that the man she was going to marry has been lying to her all along, and then having to pull the Doctor back from the brink of genocide.
That's true.
And then in Voyage of the Damned, there's Kylie Minogue dying. Oh, yeah. And then in The Next Doctor, there's Jackson Lake being separated from his son and thinking his son is dead, and then finding out that he's alive. And then in The End of Time Part 1, last year's Christmas special, that's all, there's emotion stuff there. But I think here it's better connected to a good story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I know some people have been rather upset about the way in which time travel is used in the story. Specifically, are you familiar with the Blinovitch limitation effect?
No.
The Blinovitch limitation effect is a law of time travel that was mentioned a couple times in the classic series, where you cannot come into contact with a version of yourself from another point in the timeline, or else a massive explosion will happen, or a massive release of energy. And this was demonstrated in The Big Bang, actually. Two versions of the 11th Doctor's sonic screwdriver meet, and there's a very tiny discharge of energy.
Yes.
And it also happened in Father's Day, where Christopher Eccleston tells Rose, "Don't touch the baby."
Right.
But in this, you have the young Kazran hugging the old Kazran to no ill effect whatsoever. And I think a lot of people were rubbed the wrong way by that, even if they liked the rest of the episode.
I could see that. There's so much going on at that point that I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that was going on. Like, the that was a danger, I guess. Mm-hmm. Although they don't actually ever... No, wait, they do. Never mind.
No, they certainly do touch.
Yeah, they do.
I don't care, though.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, there's no consistency in the way time travel is used in Doctor Who anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire idea of this is that, like, he goes back and he changes history, and the older Kazran is able to know that things have changed and watches his memory changes, when, I mean, logically you'd expect that the old version of Kazran would just be completely overwritten.
Right.
By a new version of Kazran, who would not be conscious of the fact that time had changed. He wouldn't be conscious of the earlier version. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Right, exactly. You know, it's really kind of funny because I feel like if it had just been given to me without any explanation, I'd have been like, hey, this doesn't really make sense. But, like, if the doctor says something about it, then I feel like it's okay. Like, he actually says in the video, now your memory's going to change, it's going to be kind of freaky, just deal with it. And so, like, I feel like that was a sufficient explanation. It's like, okay, now I can expect this to happen, and it's fine. I guess I'll believe anything the doctor says.
But rule number 1, the doctor lies.
That's true.
Even so, though, I mean, if you go back to Waters of Mars or Fires of Pompeii, in there it's like the fixed point in time, things that can't be changed or shouldn't be changed or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's the idea that the rules of time don't always apply the same way in every situation. And to us, that might look like inconsistency and failure by the writers to apply the same rules everywhere. But in truth, it's just that the Doctor understands time at a higher level than we mere humans do.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, you can use the Doctor as an authority to basically say that, okay, in this story, the rule of time applies in this way.
Right. And I am totally okay with that.
Yeah, whatever's best for the story you're trying to tell.
Yeah. That's all that really matters.
What'd you think of the sort of Star Trek parody?
I thought that was really funny.
I loved that.
I loved all the lens flare they inserted. Just that whole bridge had that whole feel. I loved that.
The gleaming white. And
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. You know, that's actually an idea that Russell T Davies once talked about doing.
Oh, really?
He was actually considering doing an actual Star Trek crossover.
Really?
But he was also considering doing sort of a Star Trek parody thing where the Doctor would come into contact with a spaceship crew that was pretty much like the crew of the Enterprise, but he never did it. I guess Stephen Moffat just sort of took it.
Yeah, I guess so. That would have been awesome, though. I would have loved to see an episode like that.
An actual crossover, though? That might be a bit much.
I don't think I would have liked an actual crossover. Although, it would be possible, I guess. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I suppose so.
What'd you think of the CGI? Because I really liked the CGI.
Some of it I liked, and some of it I didn't.
Actually, now that I think about it, the bit with the shark and the pulling the cart, that looked kind of bad.
The part I really liked was the opening.
I'm trying to think of what the... Oh, yeah.
It's like zooms over the fog enclosed planet. Yeah. I think that looks pretty cool. I might make that my desktop wallpaper. But I wasn't so much a fan of, like, I don't know, the scene where he opens the TARDIS door and they see all the fish swimming around. That scene didn't do much for me. I don't know why.
What stood out most to me was was just the scene. I guess the scene where you first see the fish and they're kind of just like swimming around a lamppost. That I thought looked really, really good.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That I think was done really well. But yeah,
there's something about the production design of this episode that looked kind of cheap to me.
Really?
It looked very good. Like, it looked very well done, like all the cinematography and even the design. But lots of empty streets with no people in them.
Huh.
I mean, it felt like the world was empty.
That's interesting.
They made this planet, but when they're on the street, there are very few people. I mean, everything's enclosed in fog, so that sort of makes them not have to make that much to fill up the set.
Right.
The sets are very dark, so there's lots of dark corners, and only small parts of it are illuminated. So they don't have to make anything big and expansive. Whereas if you look at, I don't know. I feel like The Next Doctor, for instance, did a very, very convincing Victorian London. It's the BBC, so I mean, costume drama is sort of their bag. And then even Voyage of the Damned, the cruise ship was like fully realized. Everything looked like you got these big ballrooms with lots of people in them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm being unfair to A Christmas Carol, but I felt like it had this sort of empty feeling for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I didn't really notice that. I think I'd have to go back and watch it again. But yeah, now that I think about it, there were a lot of empty streets and stuff. But that just wasn't something I focused on for whatever reason.
And it's also confined to a very small number of sets as well.
That's true.
I don't know, it's just something I noticed, especially on my second viewing of it. So, and I don't even know that it's necessarily a bad thing, because, I mean, it was very well directed. I mean, it looked very good. It just had this particularly... Maybe it should have that look. I don't know. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Yeah, it could be. It's always fun to just be like, yeah, maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they wanted it to be terrible.
Exactly. I didn't say terrible. I just said sort of empty.
Well, it seemed like they were making a big deal about, got to keep the fish away. Like, we don't want the fish to get through. Or
True.
So maybe people were scared of the fish.
Could be. Speaking of the fish, when they first mentioned the fish, I was thinking it was going to be, like, related to Vampires in Venice. And the big thing on top of Kazran's home that controls the atmosphere kind of reminded me of the big thing on the church steeple that controls the atmosphere in Vampires of Venice.
Yeah. I didn't make that connection, but yeah, it's clearly there. Yeah, it's very similar.
But it's obvious. I don't think it was, like, intentional. I think it just sort of...
Right.
They're just sort of weird similarities.
That's interesting. The fog fish... They're very similar to the fish from space.
I think they're better looking though, CGI wise.
Yeah, the fish from space were certainly not. I don't like to think about that episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
That's probably the episode I liked the least this past season. Actually, that was easily the episode I liked the least.
I think I have made my opinion on the matter known.
Yes.
Regarding which episode of the past season I liked the least.
Yes. So do we want to talk about the coming soon bit?
Yeah, sure. I haven't rewatched that very many times.
I noticed the console room type dealie from The Lodger. I noticed that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. I need to rewatch this. Let's rewatch this right now. Do you have it?
Yes, I do.
We should do a commentary.
All right.
We've never done a commentary. We have to do a commentary. We're doing a commentary on this. So I'm on the screen where it says coming soon.
Okay.
I'm paused on that, and I'm going to unpause it. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, unpause, okay?
Okay. So
ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, unpause.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, coming soon. Yeah. Pirates. Nazis. TARDIS.
A gun.
That guy. The Oval Office, it looks like. So clearly very American.
Yes.
This episode. Helicopter shots.
Good old helicopters. Oh, I love that.
Stetsons are cool. Yeah, and the doctor with a beard.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. You're right.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Wow. Her naked.
Always a fun time.
I wonder what this ood thing is going to be about.
Yeah, like the ood with the green eyes.
And why does everyone have, like, tally marks on their cheeks and forehead? That's creepy.
Yeah.
That's really creepy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
So that was our first ever commentary.
Sweet. That bit from The Lodger, I hope they're going to explain that. And it did seem in that episode like there was more to it than that. Or I wanted to believe there was.
You're right. It did seem like that, but at the same time, I didn't think they were ever going to go back to that. Huh. You're right. That was never very well explained at all.
Yeah.
I know the original idea for The Lodger was to incorporate a villain from the classic series called Meglos, which is a sort of talking cactus.
What?
And not like the cactus people from End of Time. Like, I mean, just like a potted cactus.
Sweet.
That story's coming out on DVD in America next month, so everyone go buy that. I actually like Meglos, kind of. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I'm kind of interested to see it now.
I think it's part of season 18.
Huh.
I'm looking forward to the next season, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that all of those scenes come from just a couple of episodes.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's the way it usually is. I mean, they're only filming, I think they've filmed 4 or 5 episodes so far.
Now, this is the season that they're breaking it up, right?
Yes. It's a total of 13 episodes. I believe it's 7 in the spring and then 6 in the autumn.
Okay.
Yeah, so... And it starts with a 2-parter. The 2-parter is written by Stephen Moffat. That's the one that's filmed in Utah.
Oh, okay.
It involves River Song, and it involves a new monster which they claim is creepier than the Weeping Angels.
Ooh.
Maybe it's that thing from the last shot, the one that I said was really creepy.
Yeah.
Like that you see through the door and it's kind of blurry, because that thing's creeping me out.
Yeah.
I'm going to see that in my nightmares.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Slender Man.
What?
Oh, that's right, you don't know Slender Man.
What is that?
Oh, okay. There's a YouTube channel called Marble Hornets.
Okay.
You need to watch all the videos on it in order.
Marble Hornets?
And watch it with the lights on.
Okay.
Because it's creepy as heck.
Okay.
It's an urban legend sort of monster called Slender Man. Or as I like to call him, Slenderman.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm looking forward to that.
Well, do. And all of our listeners, go check out youtube.com/marblehornets, especially if you don't scare easily. So, how do we do this?
Oh, man, I don't... you've been listening to the Cloister Room. No,
That's
wait,
right.
Is that what we do? That is what we do.
I think we tell them that they've been listening to the Cloister Room.
And why not? You know, they could have forgotten.
I mean, clearly we've forgotten. So, yeah, if you liked what you heard in this episode, then please let us know in an email to thecloisterroom@gmail.com or in a comment at thecloisterroom.com on one of the many blog posts. And, I mean, even if you didn't like what you heard, I mean, just tell us. We can change. We can change. Yeah. You can also follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
At the Cloister Room, or you could follow just Lewis on Twitter.
Yeah.
And not me.
Yeah, and I'm at Mila's Belly. And one of these days I should really spell that out, but that day is not today.
Okay. I'm at T. Dickinson, and I'm not going to spell that out either. So, I mean, that's all we have to say.
That is.
So, until next time, I've been Tom Dickinson.
And I've been Lewis Midas.
And goodbye.
Good night.